Hey, what do you wake up thinking about every morning? No, I'm not talking about the coffee, even though I do. I do wake up thinking about coffee every morning. And it's not about going to the gym, but what do you wake up with on your mind each and every morning? That is, if you're an entrepreneur. That is, if you're fired up and wired to do good. That is, if you want to succeed. What do you wake up with on your mind each and every morning? Is it about the bottleneck? The bottleneck in your business? It should be. That's what you should be thinking about. Gosh, I've got a bottleneck in my business. What is the bottleneck? How do I create more sales, more revenue, a better net? These are things that you should wake up and just going, I've got to solve this today. Each and every morning, you should wake up. How do I solve this problem each and every day? And maybe it's not a problem. Maybe you've solved the problem, but that is what you wake up with still each and every morning. How do I create? How do I manufacture? How do I do it and get more out of my day when it comes to production? See, production solves all problems. All problems. Revenue solves all problems. Because if we have the revenue, then we may just have to find out how to control our expenses. But revenue, lead with revenue, is always the best way. But what is that bottleneck? What is that thing that you wake up? It's a bottleneck, is what you wake up with. And the bottleneck, when it comes to anything in sales, is how do I make more sales? It is the one thing, it's the one thing that limits what we can accomplish. And it stifles growth. And for many of us, that is really where the problem exists. But what do? We'll get to it. I'll take care of this. I'll answer these emails. I will, work this and work that and play in social media. All of these things take us away from the one thing that we should be concentrating on, which is the bottleneck of sales. So if the bottleneck of sales is sales, why do we get so busy doing everything but sales? Think about that. Gosh, I'm the worst at this as well. I get up and I get busy and I play on my email and I do all kinds of things to make myself feel busy and look busy and think that I'm a real business owner. But yet it is all about sales. And the first thing that I should do or you should do is dive into how to make more sales, not how to make myself busy. So the bottleneck is really lead generation, and identifying this challenge is not always easy, but it is the most important thing that we need to do each and every day. So why lead generation bottlenecks matter? Well, a bottleneck is a lead generation means fewer listings. It means fewer deals. It means ultimately less revenue. So left unchecked, it creates inefficiencies that compound over time. And those inefficiencies over time mean that we just kind of start to settle. We get comfortable not getting the sale. Listen to me. How we get sold is how we sell. How I am sold is how I sell. So if I procrastinate on making decisions for myself when it comes to somebody selling me something, I'm going to lead others to procrastinate too. So, the bottleneck can often just be our mindset as well. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to address this as quickly as possible. Whether that's in real estate sales or any sales, we need to address the bottleneck quickly. Very, very quickly. So have a 2-hour rule for success. And what I mean by that, make it non-negotiable that you're going to spend the first 2 hours of your day on lead gen. The first 2 hours every workday, laser focused on generating leads. And why is this so important to do in the morning? Well, we're just a lot more clear. We don't let things get in our way. The day of the day doesn't get in our day. Let me say it. The day of the day doesn't get in our day. Think about that. The day of the day doesn't get in our day. So our energy and our focus is really at its peak in most cases in the morning when we're freshest and we have the most focus. So do it in the morning and you get momentum. So the balance of your day is going to be incredibly strong because I don't know about you, but when I get activated on doing the one thing I need to do, the rest of my day just flows and it just works. So momentum is significantly increased because I've tackled that one thing, the one thing that I need to do to create, the sales and get out of the bottleneck of that sales. And then, of course, consistency wins. So do it each and every day, and that consistency will win. Daily attention compounds into massive, massive breakthroughs. So, how to identify this? How to identify the lead gen bottleneck? Does anybody know? Does anybody know this? Well, if you're unsure where the lead gen bottleneck is, guess what? Ask yourself this. Where does it lie? Ask yourself this. Are you consistently reaching out to new prospects? Are you? Gosh, you should be adding, if it's in real estate or any other business, you should be adding at least 2 new contacts a day. Think about that. 2 new contacts a day, 5 days a week. Some of us work 6 or 7, but let's just say it's 5. That's 10. That's 40. That's almost 500 new contacts a year, 480 contacts. Think about that. What would that do for your business? What would that do for your bottom line? What would you do for your revenue? What would that do for your ego and your energy? Oh my goodness. So consistency wins. Is your follow-up system effective and timely? Do you have a CRM that you can track? Because if you can't track, you can't measure, you don't know the metrics, it's all going to be lost. It's all going to be lost. So make sure that you're tracking your lead gen and make sure it is consistent. And are you leveraging multiple lead sources? That's another key thing, including referrals, online leads, social media, your prospecting lane, whatever that prospecting lane is. And I'm going to talk a little bit about prospecting lanes. I'm not going to go deep on this, but you can only really play in 1, 2, maybe 3 prospecting lanes. Conquer, own one lane before you start thinking about a second and a third prospecting lane. So identify your lead gen bottlenecks. And then, of course, you gotta be what? You gotta be obsessed. You gotta be obsessed by solving this. And let me ask you a question. How many obsessions can you have? Like, really, ask yourself that. How many obsessions? And when I mean obsessions, you can only be diving deep into one obsession at a time. You know this. Think about some obsessions that you have. I don't know, maybe it was some significant other, but I remember obsessions that I would have throughout my life. And man, when I was obsessed, I would just dive all in. But you can only really handle one obsession at a time. Make that obsession lead gen. If you make it lead gen, oh my goodness, you're going to crush it and conquer it. Be relentless. Focus on this one key and treat your lead generation bottleneck like it's your personal arch nemesis. You want to crush it and conquer it. Treat it like it's your worst enemy and go out and crush it. So break it down. Prioritize tasks like cold calling, follow-up, warm-up leads, running ad campaigns, and hosting open houses. Break it down into bite-sized pieces so you can see what it looks like. Be specific. Be specific. And then eliminate distractions. And we have so many distractions. I don't know whether that's your phone, whether it's somebody else, whether it's the office environment. Eliminate them now. Eliminate them for those 2 hours. Do not be distracted. If you have to put your phone in airplane mode or put it in a drawer, whatever it may be, eliminate the distraction. Block out those interruptions while working on your lead gen, and then measure the progress. We already talked about this. Tracking makes lead generation work. How many converts? What's the activity? And I mean right from A to Z. Here's what we often do. We often make this mistake. We start tracking, but we don't track right to the very, very end. And we should be tracking every detail. And when we've tracked it, we go back and we actually look at it again and again and add little nuances so we really understand what is working and what isn't, what ad's working. And when we changed the ad and tweaked it, did it work better or worse? We need to be actively digging into this tracking and being so proactive so we learn so much about it, because when we learn about it, we can amplify it. We can amplify it when we dig deep and learn about our lead gen. So commit to the process. Commit to this process. This is my one ask of you today, is commit to the progress. And when you commit to it, write it down. Write it down. In fact, fill out a calendar and mark X's on each day that you committed those 2 hours of prospecting, and get the bottleneck out of your revenue. Get the bottleneck out of your lead gen. Remember, production solves all problems. Revenue resolves all problems. So commit to success each and every day. And if you're looking for a great daily accountability, which I have in my daily accountability, the 2 hours, the prospecting lane, all of that, reach out to me and let me know that you would like the daily accountability. What I do is I track it every day. And every day I take those numbers on how I'm doing on the daily activity and I look at the average for the week, then for the month. And I'm just trying to improve my average by 1%. 1%. And by the end of the year, I've increased it by significant. Think about that, 50+% potentially increased. So if this is important to you, the daily activity checklist, reach out to me, DM me, call me, email. You know how to find me. I'm everywhere. DM me today for that daily accountability checklist. So success doesn't happen overnight. Success doesn't happen overnight, but consistent action creates unstoppable momentum. Every day you attack your lead generation bottleneck is a step forward for greater efficiency. Greater revenue. Revenue solves all problems. So let's get out there. Let's start today. Stay obsessed. Let's go and succeed together. And if this is resonating with you and you'd like to learn more, well, reach out to me. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever it may be, and get what scientific scaling systems is all about. It's the science about scaling with systems. Scientific scalings. Reach out to me. Love you guys. Bye.